I wonder if you recognize these mounds. On the beach. These mounds are easy to step on. The colder the weather, the more swimming crabs there are. Right on this beach. Only a breathing hole is visible. It keeps spitting out water. This one is still spitting out water, see? What a big head. Over here should be a mound. After the tide goes out, it flows away with the water. Let's wash it. Big head. This one seems to eat mud. This one is about the same size as my hand. The radius must be. This is really scary. I almost stepped on it. This piece of glass is pointing upwards like this. If you were barefoot in this place, you'd be in trouble if you got pricked. This is no joke, look. How sharp. Even walking on this smooth beach, you have to be careful. Look at my hand. The meat almost matches the size of my palm, see? This one is really big, the meat. The shell isn't big, but the meat is really plump. Let's clean this one a bit more. The livelier the cat's eye snail, the plumper its meat. It came out completely. The meat is sealed really well. It doesn't even want to let the water out. Really, the head isn't particularly big. Look at that meat. It's even bigger than my palm. The skin has been sun-dried very thin. I don't know how many tides it's been sun-dried through. I feel like this can be mixed directly. It's all marinated. This kind of drunken fish is basically what the seabirds leave behind. These are all leftovers. See, the remaining meat is all missing a piece. Looking at the color, it's not particularly fresh. Look at this crab lying in the sand. It's showing its shell. It's a horseface crab lying in the sand like this. So dumb, this crab won't pinch you. But this kind of crab is particularly plump. It's full of roe. This next hole is also a snail hole. Hey, the snail's nose is still over here. Hey, sprinkle some salt and it comes right out. This one is so well behaved. This head is a bit smaller. Taking a small one is a waste of effort. Put it back. Let its tongue go in then. It'll retract immediately. Let's go. Give you this nostril. Let this one grow a little longer. This section is already sun-dried, very dry. This thing is already very green. This definitely can't be eaten. It's all dried up. Now nobody wants to eat this seaweed anymore. In the summer, some people would still pick it up. Now the weather isn't hot, so nobody wants it. A while ago, it was still particularly small. Just 2 tides and it grew this big. All rooted in the sand. Leave some like this, it can still grow. Like this, you can take it home and eat it. This is especially fresh. Not a bit of sun. This kind of cat's eye snail by the tide. It just dug a hole. Got washed out by a wave. This kind of cat's eye snail basically can't burrow in the sand anymore. What a big head. Look at the water content. I haven't even started squeezing and it's already spurting out. After the tide goes out, there are a lot by the seaside. As long as they are in this water, they are fresh. It hasn't been sun-baked. If this is sun-baked, it turns white. There's another big one here. Okay, that's enough. Even if I cook them, I wouldn't want them. We can't eat all these in one meal. Can you see the black ones over there too? There. The kind that get caught in fishing nets, these little balls. They're basically all dried out. This one is already half dried. These are all mud snails. If you put this in water, they'll all turn into mud snails. This fishing rod is the easiest to catch these little balls. It's like this, one after another. Pick them all up and put them in the water. They won't survive here either. Look, there are all these little sea hares over here. These sea hares are all big. You can't pick up these sea hares with your hands. If you do, they'll bite you. Look how lively this fish is. Look, all these sea hares are alive. They're all moving. All these sea hares are caught in the fishing net. After the tide goes out, pick them up right by this fishing net. This breathing hole is quite deep. Sprinkle some salt on it and see if it comes out. These snails are very well behaved now. The weather is neither cold nor hot. Oh, it's crushed. The shell is too thin. It's not too big either. If it's broken, just take it. This is also a breathing hole of a snail. Just pry it open and it starts to squirt out water. This head isn't big. Just sprinkle salt in the direction of its breathing hole. It came right out. This one is so well behaved. One was just dug up over here, and it's so close. These two are neighbors. The sun is quite strong. If this octopus is sunbaked, it won't have the strength to burrow in the sand. It turns white when sunbaked. Its whole body is white. The seabird is right next to it. Can you take a look at this seabird? It didn't even notice this octopus. It flew away. This jellyfish, the tide hasn't gone out yet, are mostly alive. Those on the beach will mostly be sunbaked and ruined. Yeah, the jellyfish's brain is inside. This is a whole large jellyfish. Not a bit missing. The ones I picked up a while ago were all ruined by the wind. Look at this one. How complete and round it is. This big. You could eat for several meals. Just take it from the back. Don't take it from the claws. If it knows, you'll be in trouble. But I thought it was a razor clam hole. This sea anemone. Sea anemone. They aren't big. This kind of sea anemone is rooted very deep. But it's not short. So long, and it retracted in a moment. This sea anemone retracts very quickly. This one, even this size, is actually edible. Hey, let me put this one back here and let it grow a bit longer. It's too small. I'm afraid if I take it back, the small ones won't grow big. These nets are all made of shark skin. This is sandpaper. This one is quite well made. All packed in this net bag. It's purple. Look at the tentacles. They haven't dried out. I don't even want this kind with just the claws left. I cut a lot a while ago. We can't eat them all at home. No place to put them. This actually grows very fast. Just pick these off then. They'll grow back again. Amazing. This is too. Like there are seeds at the bottom. This is also a snail. This needs to be dug up until you can see its nose, then just sprinkle salt. If you dig too shallow, it won't feel it. Look how well behaved this one is. It came out by itself. Look at the meat. The meat is especially plump right now. This is its nose. This nose has a total of 6 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, exactly 6 segments. There are a lot of sea anemones like this by the seaside now. This head isn't very big. Hey. Goodness, this is just a little ball. This small. It's really a ball, and it's elastic. Put this one back in the sea. This also looks like a crab hole. This one too. Hey, it hit under again. This head isn't big either. This kind below. Flower crabs are especially numerous. Oops, directly. Pinched me, this one. This one, I got pinched by this guy. Forget it, I won't take it. Consider it its victory. Under these wooden piles, crabs also like to hide. Are you at home? I saw one. This one isn't small. This is a red-shelled crab. This guy ran too fast here. Now this crab is especially fat. I have to hold it down. This guy, if it pinches your hand, it'll pinch right to the flesh. This big male crab. Can you see this part? The narrower ones are male crabs. Freshwater crabs can be taken home and boiled directly. It turns red when boiled. This hasn't fully receded yet. This cat's eye snail can't burrow in the sand. If it tries to burrow a little in the sand with the wave will wash it away. It'll be harder to catch. The meat is so plump. This cat's eye snail is really, really slippery. Surprisingly, it doesn't drink much water in the water. You have to be careful when squeezing this cat's eye snail. Its shell is very sharp. Easy to cut your hand. This is a horseface crab. This is just after the tide went out. Otherwise, its mound should be even higher. This crab is quite strong when the tide just recedes. If the tide is out for a long time, it basically won't move. Lately, there are a lot of hairtails by the seaside. This one hasn't been eaten by seabirds yet, but its belly is already broken. This one is still very fresh. You can tell from the color. Now if you fish for hairtails at night, you can catch a lot. Everyone can catch a bucketful. This shouldn't be long. If the seabirds haven't eaten it, I can take it. Look, put it on this beach. What falls off are these fish scales. It has to be very fresh to fall off. This jellyfish was eaten by seabirds. Look, there are all the seabirds' footprints here. These seabirds are quite clever. They don't eat the stinging tentacles. Maybe the tentacles sting birds too. Look, it only eats the top part. It ate all the top part. So clever. It won't eat this outer part, not a single bite. This one is particularly well made. If you see this kind of jellyfish by the seaside, don't touch it with your hands. If it touches your hand, your skin will have a severe allergic reaction. I don't even want this. Can you see if there's anything different about this area? It's a crab. I almost didn't notice it. It was spitting out bubbles that I saw it. Oh, it's this big. Wow, this is another one with roe. Wow, such a big crab with roe. Ah, what a pity. This one with roe can't be eaten. Such a big one, it would be better if it didn't have roe. Look, the yellow part is all baby crabs. This one should have been injured. This part is broken. This one should be laying eggs. The eggs on top are already half gone. I'll put it over here, where the tide doesn't recede. Otherwise, after the tide goes out, it may not survive. There were a lot of arrow crabs here before. There are a lot of fish now. They are all this big. Jumping around lively. Underneath are all. Getting better so quickly. It hurts even if they bump into your feet. These are all small silver pomfrets, I think. So many, they're all in groups. They're all stranded here. Let's take a look at these small silver pomfrets. You basically don't see them anymore, let alone live ones. They are all the same. Put it in the water. Caught in the fishing net. Put them all over here. Put them here, and they can go back to the sea. When the tide comes up, it'll take them away. Look at these little mud snail tips. It's like this, patch after patch. Many of them are already sunbaked and ruined. Like this, they're still okay. Put all the undamaged ones into the water. Otherwise, they'll be sunbaked and ruined soon. They'll turn into water. I have to pick some up tonight. There are more ahead. This is a fishing rod in the sea, a bamboo pole. There's a net hanging on it. I'll pull it down. There's another horseface crab here. It's alive. This crab is still very much alive and wants to pinch me. Oh dear, small flower basket crabs like this don't live long. This is no use anymore. Look, these are all sunbaked and ruined. This net is full of crabs. Fishing nets like this, afterwards there will be coming to pick them up. Cat's eye snails like these are completely washed out by the tide. Not a bit of sand. The waves are washing up layer by layer over here. This kind of cat's eye snail basically can't stay in the sand. This one can't hold water. This meat has a hole in it. This is still a small squid. The squid bone is still inside. You can basically catch live squids at night, rarely during the day, mainly because it doesn't live long. Actually, the squid bone is also a good thing. Let's take this too. Can you see this sea cucumber's mouth? This is the first time I've seen a sea cucumber with such a big mouth. What is it eating? Let me see if there's anything else underneath. Seeing a sea cucumber with its mouth open is very rare. Just now, it opened its mouth so wide. With this color, if you aren't careful, you wouldn't notice it. Let's add some more salt and see. This one seems to be going back in. No, this kind that's going back in. I have to quickly dig it out. It's coming this way. Some snails are very clever. This depth should be about right. Let's dig it out. Digging it out, I have to quickly chase it. Sometimes, snails move slowly, so you can catch up. This one hasn't run away yet. It's coming up, right? The breathing hole is gone. The breathing hole should be in the sand. I don't know where it ran off to. I won't take it. You can't eat its nose. If you boil it in water, it'll dissolve. Is this still alive? This one has been stranded for a while. Let's put it in the water and see. It's not very alive. I'll put it in the water. I don't think it'll live. It's too hot now. These two are going towards the sea together. It should be. They found they ran out of energy at the end. Sunbaked. They can't crawl anymore. Look at these tracks. They are all from these two octopuses crawling. These heads aren't small. These are short-legged octopuses. The tide is right here. Not far. This large ship probably ran aground last night. Especially long. Can you see my hand? Much bigger. We rarely have large ships run aground like this. It's taking up the whole beach. It's waiting for the tide to come in. When the tide comes in, it'll be able to leave. There seems to be a dog on the ship. It keeps barking there. I can hear it. I bent down. Its mouth closed. This hairy thing. It looks like it has ears above its mouth. As long as there's the slightest movement, its mouth snaps shut. This head is big. Like a small fist. Look, its shell is all hairy. No wonder it's called Hairy Brother. From a distance, I thought it was a peach. It's a sea anemone. A yellow sea anemone. It really looks like a peach. If you don't look closely, you wouldn't know it's a sea anemone. This one is still alive. This kind of sea anemone can shrink into this kind of sphere. Basically, they are all alive. If it's not alive, the sea anemone is particularly soft. It becomes particularly long. Inside breathing holes like this, there's basically always something. Just follow its breathing hole and pull downwards. Ah, you can see it from here. While digging, it keeps spitting out bubbles. This isn't a moon shell. This is a large one. Like a big clam. But it's definitely not a clam. Clams can't grow this big. These small ones are all sea grapes. These haven't grown up yet. They only grow big in cold weather. Now the water is full of these seedlings. Patch after patch. This year's sea grapes should be particularly abundant. The water is full of this now. When they grow up, they're particularly long, more in winter. Put it into deeper water. It got washed ashore by the waves and dried out. This cat's eye snail is almost completely retracted. Hot weather. This cat's eye snail will dry out soon. On this dry beach, it won't take long before its skin seals together. These two cat's eye snails almost burrowed together. This one is really black. Let's wash it. The tide just receded over here. Clean it a little more. After washing, the water inside shrinks. It can't be squeezed anymore. This one is still okay. Look at how much water there is. The sea bass caught in this net are all swimming upwards with the water. Be careful when you catch this fish. It has spines. Just take off the head. Look how sharp its spines are. Hey, they're all this big. The fish here are all stranded in groups. Add a small pufferfish. There's another one here. There are more pufferfish now. One big, one small. This small one is still angry. The big one doesn't look angry. It has a better temper. Look at this little guy. Not big, but its temper isn't small. Its belly is making gurgling sounds from anger. It's been stranded for a long time. It's basically lost its temper. When it's hot, this ball comes out. But if this ball is sun-baked, it'll melt. If it melts, it won't live. It's okay if you put it in water. These little balls are all good. They haven't melted yet. Pick it up and put it in the water. There are a lot of swimming crabs now. This head is really big. It's about the same size as my hand. This crab can't be eaten if it's been out for a long time. This one looks pretty plump. You can see its meat. But you can't eat this randomly. Even the seabirds by the beach won't eat this. Open it up. Feed it to the crabs. Like this, the crabs can eat it. This is a bit of a pity. If it was found earlier, it could still be eaten. Let's feed it to the crabs. Places like this. All these hairy things got washed out by the tide. There's another one over here. It was originally lying in the sand. The sand here was washed away completely. Just following places like this, you can find hairy things. These sea hares are all alive. The tide just receded over here. This sea hare bites. Put it on the beach, and it won't live for 2 minutes. This one doesn't live long at all. These are all still alive. Basically, you never see a live sea hare. Very, very rare. This one also spits foam. This one is still alive. This is the smallest silver pomfret I've ever seen. I let it swim a bit. This silver pomfret doesn't live long. Still alive. I'll put it back in the water. Save it. Put it by the net, and it won't live long. In these breathing holes, there are all these clams. Can you see? Now the beach is full of clams. All like this. Can you see these densely packed little clams? Inside are all. Actually, if you have a sieve, catching these is more genteel. Like these cockles. In a little while, you can gather a plateful. This clam doesn't grow big. It's not that kind of particularly large clam. Even underneath, they're all. Today, it's just right to pick a plateful to take home. Any more, and I wouldn't want them.